Hey fellow YouTubers, JJ the Trucker coming to you from Pennsylvania, Harrisburg to be exact. And I've had a few requests, people wanting to know what it's like to drop and hook a trailer, what the process is. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Alright, so each place is a little different as far as where you park and where you pick up and all that stuff. This one they told us to drop in spot 30, which is coming up right about there. There we go. Hope you're enjoying this view. Let's see if I can get this thing aligned on my first shot, shall we? My new truck, so new turning radius, new everything. Let's see if we can do this here. Alright. Let's see, how'd we do? Oh, not too shabby. Let's go ahead and get that backed up. Of course, you can only do that kind of move when there's plenty of room ahead of you. Alright, so I've already slid my tandems to the rear, which is per their request. Not all places request or require that. I've already folded my wings in, or my tails I should say, and I've already removed my lock. I did all that at the guard shack when I checked in with them. Go right about there. Alright, I'm going to set both my trailer and my parking brakes. Alright, next thing we do, we ignore all this loud noise from these reefer units. Mine's actually taking a break right now, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the air lines and the electrical line. Let's go ahead and do that. These are glad hand seals. They just literally, come on, they get a little tight sometimes. Come on. There we go. It just pops right off of there. Electrical. There we go. Then we pick up the phone back up again. Thank goodness for protective cases, right? All right. So now we are disconnected there. We're still connected here. Okay, and that go under here. Right there, you can see that bar that goes across the kingpin. We've got to release that lock. Okay, do that by going right under here, grabbing this handle, pull, the handle stays out, and now look at that. You can see the kingpin right there. No lock. Now you don't need to go in and look at it and double check it. You know it's there, and you know when you pull it, it's disengaged. Next thing we do, lower the landing gear. That's right. Take the crank handle here, push that in. Now different brand and models of trailers are a little bit different, but with all the ones Prime has, if you crank the top toward the truck, means you're leaving with the trailer. You're taking the trailer with the truck. We're not doing that. We're leaving the trailer behind, so we're going to crank to the rear. All right. Crank that baby. Now, different people crank these things down to different levels. I will say, whatever your trainer tells you to do, don't argue with them. Okay, some trainers want you to put it, put the landing gear flush on the ground. Some want you to crank it extra high to where you start hearing the airbags hissing. Most people, what we prefer to do is leave it up. I'm gonna leave it up just a couple inches, not a lot. We're gonna leave it up, all right? Go ahead and throw this back in here. Okay, we check our fuel level. Okay, it's important that we do not strand the other driver with low fuel or anything. Let's get him some fuel. Okay, we are all the way to the back. I have removed my lock. You don't want to forget your lock. And the tails are closed. All right. Now you're probably thinking, how in the world are we gonna pull out of this thing? This thing's just gonna drop to the ground like that? No. That could damage the landing gear. So what we're going to do here is use this switch right here. This one right here. This drops the air out of the airbags from the rear tires. Let's go watch this. All right. There you go. All right. These airbags right here are deflating, which is lowering the whole frame, which is supporting the fifth wheel, which is supporting the trailer. So it's gotten everything much lower now, much closer to the tires, and it's gotten the landing gear all the way to the ground. And look at that, we even have a gap here. Okay, so perfect. Much quieter. Why do we do that? Well, if you don't do that, the next person who comes and gets the trailer, they're gonna have to crank that landing gear down, and the landing gear always binds up. It's really hard to do. With us doing this, what that does is allows them to lower their airbags, get under the trailer, lift their airbags, and then slide the rest of the way under and lock that kingpin in. And now they don't have to worry about the landing gear. They can very easily crank that up because it's already about an inch or two off the ground. All right, put her in drive, take off the parking brake. Obviously we're going to leave the trailer brake on because there's no trailer attached. If we were to push this in, it's just going to spew out a whole bunch of air out of that hose that we disconnected, so obviously not going to do that. Okay, release the service brake and we slowly move forward, making sure that the trailer does stay behind. All right, and there we go. We have just disconnected from a trailer. Let's go find our new trailer and hook up to it, shall we? Put you back in the mount here. We're looking for trailer number 215774. This thing could be anywhere. So let's put the air back in the bags. You don't want to drive with the air out. You'll damage the airbags and the suspension. All right, guys, holler if you see that trailer. 215774. It's definitely not over there. Around. Whew, I'm in a Peterbilt. I might not be able to make this U-turn. Nope. If I was in a Freightliner, no problem. Not that I'm complaining about the Peterbilt. Just takes some getting used to. I could have started that turn a little closer to the edge there. That's something I need to learn. actually on the other side. Let's see, this guy's maneuvering behind me. Always got to watch what you're doing because there are other drivers doing their thing. And there we go. See, that driver's just pulling through, but our trailer is right here. Oh, it's one of the new ones too. 215. It's a 21 model. Check that out. 2020 best fleets to drive for. 5 consecutive years as a best fleet. That's prime. I believe it too. Been driving with them for a year, and I'm happy. I am absolutely happy with them. Obviously, they're not perfect. I don't think any trucking company or place that you can work with is ever going to be perfect, especially when kind of type A like I am. All right, so we are going to line up here to our trailer. Take you out the mount here again. Show you. All right. There we go. So you can see we're kind of lined up here. Gonna back it on in. Get a little more lined up as we go. Make the adjustments. Hopefully you can see us. I'm not paying attention to what the camera's recording. I'm paying attention to where I'm at. Now my airbags are up because a lot of people don't do what I do. I love it when they do. Alright, I can feel, I just felt the back end going down. So, since I felt the back end going down, get out here. I felt the back end going down, and I can kind of judge a lot better in the mirror how far, you know, what the distance is here. I normally don't get out if I see everything's looking okay, but if I see that this is too low or too high, or if I don't feel that back end going down as I come in, then I get out and look, because you can see here there is no gap between the fifth wheel plate and the trailer, and that is exactly what we want. If there was a gap there, then we have to lower the trailer landing gear before we can proceed. Since there's no gap, we're all good. So there's the kingpin right there. We're let's see how lined up I got this thing. Pretty close on the alignment, so I'll be able to back this thing on in, turn the wheel just slightly to the left, and I will come right back in here and hook up to that kingpin. That noise, he's lowering his airbags. And that noise, he's revving up his Mustang. All right. Now, when I'm backing in, I do roll the window down because I want to hear that kingpin lock in, and you can hear it. It makes a very distinctive clink sound. Let's see if you can hear it here. Get a good angle for you guys. See that okay? Alright, here we go. You hear that? Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Now, a lot of people do a tug test. I don't do a tug test. You know, 2 reasons. 1, it binds up those landing gear. And 2, I'm going to go out and visually check instead of doing the tug test. So I've got myself a neutral. Pull the parking brake again before exiting the vehicle. We go grab our gloves, of course. Check this out. All right. So we double check that there's no gap. We come on under here and look at there. You heard it click? Now we see it. There it is. That locking pin is in place. Okay. Now, that means that this handle has already put itself back into the lock position. So we are going to go ahead and need to crank that up, that landing gear, and reconnect here. So here's a little trick. So we are still not off the ground here. One thing I can tell you though is that the wheels back there are lower because the air has been out of it for a while. If we raise that air up and raise the back of that trailer up, it can help to raise these landing gear just a little bit more. How do we do that? Well, we give it some air. So let's go ahead and connect it all up, and I'll show you. All right, see if I can do this one-handed. Probably not. And let's see if we can do it without dropping the phone again, right? All right, start with the blue line. Blue. It's all color-coded for us, you know, because I guess truckers ain't smart enough to, you know, do it with the right shapes. You have to have colors, you know. There we go. That's in. See, even has a green dot on it for the green. I don't know if that's specifically what it's there for, but at least it's the shape. Can't mess that up. Red for red. See how that slides in there like that? Sometimes you can get it with one hand. Sometimes you just can't. Yeah, it's a tough one right there. Go ahead and set you down here for a sec. Sometimes you just gotta beat these things down. There we go. Now we got our air lines and our electrical lines connected, but there's still no air going there because we need to come back here and release those trailer brakes. Remember, we still had them out, which means no air. Now we're pushing them in. Again, we got this brake holding us still. You can hear it. All right. Now once we give that a minute, that should raise the back end up. Oh, look at this. Check this out. What'd I tell you? We have a gap. That's going to make it so much easier to crank this thing up. Let me tell you. Alright. Throw my glove on there. Alright. These things do have a high and low gear. Push them all the way in and crank it. It's going to crank nice and fast. But if it was bound up or it's harder to crank, you pull this out just a little bit. See that part right there? Goes in, not this part. That's just for the handle to swivel. But right there. See how it's out a little further? And you can push this back into place. And now when you crank it, super easy to crank, but it's hardly moving. That's because it's in the low gear. We don't need that now, so put it back in the high gear. Let's crank this thing up. Without holding the camera, you can usually go a little faster. I'm just standing in a different position. There we go. We're cranked up. This one's got the latch in here because it's a Wabash trailer, not a utility trailer like the other ones. All right. Do a double check. 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 All right. While I'm here, I always like to see what our reefer is set to. All right. Set point 28 degrees. And it's on a 5-degree variance. It's 5-degree variance, 28 degrees. I'll remember that for when I'm checking out. I do verify it with the paperwork. And there you go. Now all I have to do is set my tandems, which will be a completely separate video for that one of these days. then I'll go get my paperwork, check out, and I'm out of here. Remember, everybody, if you haven't subscribed yet, click on my face. Click on my face. You'll get the option to subscribe. I promise. It's awesome. Be sure to check out some of my other videos as well. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that good stuff.